I stared at the wedding invitation in my hands, its gold-embossed letters gleaming under my office lights. James and Victoria cordially invite you. My brother's wedding, the social event of the year, according to my mother's countless phone calls. She had been planning this for months, ever since James announced his engagement to Victoria Chen, daughter of one of the city's wealthiest families. The irony wasn't lost on me. 10 years ago, James had laughed when I dropped out of medical school to start my own company. Sarah's throwing her life away, he told our parents over dinner. She'll come crawling back when she runs out of money. I never did. Instead, I built Atlas Industries from the ground up, starting with a small tech startup in my garage. While James climbed the corporate ladder at Chen Enterprises, Victoria's family company, I was working 18-hour days, pouring everything I had into my dream. Not that my family noticed. They were too busy celebrating James's every promotion, every bonus, every small achievement. Miss Porter, my assistant's voice snapped me back to the present. The board meeting starts in 5 minutes. I nodded, setting the invitation aside. Today, Atlas Industries was worth over $2 billion. But I had kept my ownership private, operating through holding companies and subsidiaries. As far as my family knew, I was just another mid-level executive at some tech company. Also, my assistant added, Chen Enterprises sent over the final contract for the semiconductor deal. They're expecting signatures by the end of the week. Ah yes, the deal. $50 million worth of custom semiconductors that Chen Enterprises desperately needed for their new product line. They had no idea they were negotiating with my company, or more specifically, with me. The wedding was this weekend, and part of me wanted to skip it, but Mother had been insistent. Your brother is marrying into the Chen family, she'd said, her voice dripping with pride. Do try to dress appropriately for once. I'd built a billion-dollar company wearing jeans and hoodies, but in my mother's eyes, I was still a disappointment who couldn't maintain a proper appearance. The day of the wedding arrived, sunny and bright. I wore a simple but elegant black dress. Designer, though my family wouldn't recognize the subtle label. The ceremony was exactly as extravagant as you'd expect when old money married new money. 500 guests, crystal chandeliers, champagne fountains, and enough flowers to fill a botanical garden. Sarah. My mother's voice carried across the church courtyard. She air-kissed my cheek, careful not to smudge her perfect makeup. You actually came, and you look presentable. Behind her, my father was deep in conversation with Mr. Chen, probably discussing the upcoming semiconductor deal. If only they knew. Where should I sit? I asked, glancing at the elaborate seating chart. My mother waved vaguely. Oh, we had to make some last-minute changes. Victoria's family had so many important guests to accommodate. You understand? I did understand. In my family's eyes, I was the embarrassment, the failure who'd thrown away a medical career to chase some entrepreneurial fantasy. What they didn't know was that Atlas Industries had recently acquired 3 of Chen Enterprises' major suppliers. The semiconductor deal was just the beginning. The ceremony was beautiful. I'll give them that. Victoria looked stunning in her designer gown, and James beamed with the confidence of someone who thought he had it all figured out. I sat in the back, watching as my brother married into what he thought was a more powerful family than his own. Then came the reception. I followed the crowd to the grand ballroom, looking for my name card among the elegantly set tables, but I couldn't find it anywhere. Looking for something, Victoria's voice came from behind me, sweet as artificial sugar. She changed into her reception dress, every inch the perfect bride. My seat, I said simply. Her perfectly painted lips curved into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Oh, didn't anyone tell you? We had to make some arrangements for the more distinguished guests. The kitchen staff set up a lovely table in the back. You know where the help eats. I heard snickers from nearby guests. James appeared at Victoria's side, champagne in hand. Come on, sis, don't make a scene. You've always been good at knowing your place. 10 years of condescension and dismissal flashed through my mind. 10 years of being treated like the family failure while I built something they couldn't even imagine. I smiled, pulled out my phone, and dialed a number I knew by heart. Jack, this is Sarah Porter. I maintained eye contact with my brother as I spoke. Cancel the semiconductor contract with Chen Enterprises. All of it. James's champagne glass slipped from his fingers, shattering on the marble floor. Victoria's smile froze. What are you talking about? James demanded. What contract? I held up my phone, showing the Atlas Industries logo on the screen. The $50 million deal your new father-in-law has been counting on. The one that was supposed to save their quarter. The one that Atlas Industries, my company, was going to provide. The color drained from his face. Atlas, that's impossible. Atlas is a multi-billion-dollar. You can't? Can't what, James? Build a successful company? Be more than what you and our parents decided I was worth? I slipped my phone back into my purse. Congratulations on your wedding. I'm sure the kitchen staff will save you some cake. The silence that followed my announcement was deafening. Guests around us froze, champagne glasses halfway to their lips, as they watched the drama unfold. Victoria's perfect bridal makeup couldn't hide the panic spreading across her face. You're lying, she hissed, grabbing my arm. Atlas Industries is owned by Simon Porter. Everyone knows that. I smiled. Simon Porter is my uncle. He's been the public face of the company while I built it from behind the scenes. Would you like to call him to verify? James's face had turned an interesting shade of gray. The semiconductors. Dad Chen's whole expansion plan depends on that contract. I know, I said calmly. Just like I know about the 3 failed product launches this year, the mounting debt, and the fact that Chen Enterprises has been operating on borrowed time and borrowed money for the past 18 months. Victoria's father appeared behind them, his usual confident demeanor cracking. What's going on here? James, why is your sister talking about our contract? I turned to face him, extending my hand. Mr. Chen, I don't believe we've been properly introduced. Sarah Porter, CEO of Atlas Industries, though you might know me better as SP Holdings from the negotiation calls. The great David Chen, titan of industry, stumbled backward as if I'd struck him. You're SP, the one who's been buying our supplier companies? Guilty, I smiled. Though I have to say, your due diligence team should have dug deeper. A simple background check would have revealed the connection. My mother pushed through the growing crowd, her face flushed with anger and champagne. Sarah, stop this nonsense immediately. You're ruining your brother's wedding. Nonsense. I pulled out my phone again, opening my banking app. Would you like to see Atlas's quarterly reports? Or maybe the ownership documents? I have them right here. James grabbed my arm, his fingers digging in painfully. Fix this, he growled. Whatever game you're playing, fix it now. I met his eyes steadily, like you fixed things when I needed a loan to start my company. When I came to you for help and you laughed in my face. Get a real job, you said. Stop embarrassing the family. That was different, he protested. You were being unrealistic. Was I? I gestured around the opulent ballroom. Who paid for all this, James? Chen Enterprises, the company that's 3 months away from bankruptcy without my semiconductors. Victoria let out a choked sob, her perfect mascara starting to run. Daddy, is this true? Are we really? Mr. Chen loosened his bow tie, sweat beading on his forehead. Princess, it's complicated. Business is, we just need time to. Time won't help. I interrupted softly. Your company has been hemorrhaging money for years. The semiconductor deal was your last hope for a turnaround. And now? My father finally stepped forward, his face a storm of confusion and dawning realization. Sarah, all these years when we thought you were struggling, I was building an empire. I finished for him. One that's now worth more than Chen Enterprises and all its subsidiaries combined. Funny how appearances can be deceiving, isn't it? The murmurs from the wedding guests grew louder. Phones appeared in hands as people started searching for Atlas Industries, connecting the dots. Victoria's carefully curated society wedding was turning into a public relations nightmare. Please, James whispered, his arrogance finally cracking. Sarah, you can't do this. Not today. Think about what this will do to our family. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Our family? You mean the one that excluded me from every holiday photo because I didn't dress expensively enough? The one that told me I was throwing my life away because I didn't follow the path he chose? Mother stepped closer, trying to salvage the situation. Darling, we were just worried about you. We wanted you to have a stable career, a respectable life. Like James? I raised an eyebrow. The perfect son who's been embezzling from his department to cover his gambling debts? James went pale. How did you? I own the company that audits Chen Enterprises books, I said quietly. I know everything, James. Every cooked number, every fake report, every cent you've stolen. I was waiting to see how far you'd go before I exposed it. Victoria whirled on him, her designer dress whispering across the marble floor. You've been stealing from my father's company. The perfect wedding was unraveling thread by thread. Guests were openly recording now, society's elite capturing the moment a powerful family discovered they weren't as powerful as they thought. Mr. Chen's face had turned purple with rage. Security. Get them out. All of them. I wouldn't do that, I said calmly, unless you want Atlas to call in all the loans we've acquired from your creditors. We own quite a bit of Chen Enterprises debt now. It would be a shame if it all came due at once. The security guards froze, looking uncertainly between Mr. Chen and me. Power was shifting in real time, and everyone could feel it. What do you want? Mr. Chen finally asked, his voice hoarse. I straightened my simple black dress, the one my mother had sneered at earlier. Want? I have everything I want. A successful company, respect in the business world. The satisfaction of knowing that the family who dismissed me now depends on my mercy for their survival. James stepped forward, his handsome face twisted with desperation. Sarah, please. We can work something out. Maybe a board position at Chen Enterprises, full partnership in the family business. Partnership? I smiled. James, by this time next week, I'll own controlling interest in Chen Enterprises. Your gambling debts and Victoria's father's mismanagement have seen to that. The semiconductor deal was just a formality, a courtesy before the takeover. Victoria sank into a nearby chair, her wedding dress pulling around her like broken dreams. This can't be happening. Not today, not at my wedding. The kitchen staff really does have a lovely table set up, I said, echoing her earlier sneer. Perfect for a family in your new position. My mother tried one last time. Sarah, think about what you're doing. We're your family. No, I said quietly. You're the people who taught me that success only counts if it comes with designer labels and society connections. Thank you for that lesson. It made building my company in secret so much sweeter. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and James, those gambling debts you've been hiding? Atlas now owns those too. We'll be in touch about a payment plan. The grand ballroom erupted in chaos behind me as I walked away. Victoria's sobs echoed off the crystal chandeliers, mixed with Mr. Chen's angry shouts and my mother's attempts to maintain social dignity. Outside, my Tesla waited at the valet stand, not the flashy sports car James drove, but the understated model preferred by tech executives who actually built something. My driver, who was also my head of security, held the door. Everything okay, Ms. Porter? I looked back at the expensive venue, where my family's carefully constructed world was crumbling. Everything's perfect, Mike. Let's head to the office. We have a company to acquire. The next few weeks were a blur of headlines and business meetings. Chen Enterprises' stock plummeted as news of their financial troubles and James's embezzlement leaked. Victoria filed for annulment, unwilling to be tied to a failing dynasty. My parents tried desperately to reach me, leaving voicemails that evolved from angry demands to tearful pleas. I focused on what I did best, building and improving. Atlas Industries absorbed Chen Enterprises' valuable assets while discarding the bloat and corruption. We retained most of the employees, but restructured the management, starting with James' department. 3 months after the wedding that wasn't, I sat in my office reviewing quarterly reports when my assistant announced an unexpected visitor. Send them in, I said, not looking up from my tablet. The door opened, and expensive perfume filled the air. My mother stood there, looking older and less certain than I'd ever seen her. The receptionist didn't recognize me, she said quietly. I had to show ID to prove I was your mother. Security protocol, I replied, finally meeting her eyes. We've had some interesting visitors since the takeover. She sat down uninvited, her designer bag, last season's model now, clutched in her hands. Your father and I, we've been doing a lot of thinking about how we treated you, about what we failed to see. And I kept my voice neutral. And we were wrong, she whispered. So terribly wrong. We thought success looked like James, all flash and no substance. We didn't understand that real success was what you were building. I leaned back in my chair, studying her. Did you come here to apologize, Mother? Or because the country club membership is up for renewal and you need help with the fees? She flinched. We deserve that. We deserve all of it. But Sarah, you're still our daughter. Surely that means something. It meant nothing when I needed your support, I said calmly. Why should it mean something now that I don't? A tear slipped down her perfectly made-up face. Because we've learned. Because seeing everything you've built, everything you've become. We're so proud of you, Sarah. Even if we don't deserve to be. I stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the city where my company had become a major force. Pride is easy when success is visible, Mother. The question is, would you have been proud of me during the struggle? When I was working out of a garage, wearing the same clothes every day because every spare cent went into the company? No, she admitted softly. We wouldn't have been. And that's our shame to carry. I turned back to face her. James called again yesterday. He wants a job at Atlas. And I told him what he told me 10 years ago. Get some real experience first. Stop relying on family connections. She nodded slowly. He's living in our guest room now. Victoria's family. They want nothing to do with us since the scandal. The mighty fall hard, I observed. How does it feel, Mother, being on the other side of society's judgment? Humbling, she whispered. Terrifying. Educational. I returned to my desk and pressed a button on my phone. Clara, please bring in the package for Mrs. Porter. My assistant appeared moments later with a thick envelope. I handed it to my mother. What's this? She asked, opening it carefully. A fresh start, I said. Information about the small business loan program Atlas runs. Real estate listings for affordable commercial spaces. Contact details for legitimate business advisors. Everything you need to build something real, if you're willing to do the work. She stared at the papers, then at me. You'd help us? After everything? I'm not helping. I corrected her. I'm offering an opportunity. What you do with it is up to you. But understand this. There will be no shortcuts, no special treatment, no trading on the Porter name. If you want to succeed, you'll do it the way I did, through hard work and real value. My mother stood, clutching the envelope like a lifeline. Thank you, Sarah, for the opportunity and for the lesson. One more thing, I said as she reached the door. That kitchen table at James's wedding? Best seat in the house. It's where you see people's true colors. She nodded, understanding the message. As the door closed behind her, I returned to my work. The company I built needed my attention, and I had more important things to do than dwell on the past. Sometimes the best revenge isn't serving someone humble pie. It's making them eat it at the kitchen table they set for you. And sometimes the greatest success isn't in proving others wrong, but in proving yourself right. Atlas Industries continues to grow, now one of the most respected companies in the tech sector. James eventually found work as a junior analyst at a small firm. Learning the value of honest work, my parents opened a small boutique with a loan they qualified for. Nothing flashy, but something real. And me? I still keep my old garage workbench in my office. It reminds me of where I started and why appearances mean nothing compared to what you actually build. The kitchen table, after all, is where real work gets done.